Me. Welcome back to Kamen Review, episode 184. We're here discussing episodes 21 to 24 of Kamen Rider Agito. One thing I forgot to mention in the last set of episodes is the stuff with Ryu, aka Kamen Rider Gills, where he shows up at basically the apartment, Aki's apartment, which basically is Nichi's there. He just lies in the bed. He's sweating like crazy. Must have been really hot in that apartment. He doesn't do much. Like, Aki basically is back out. She basically returned previously. And she's been trying to kill more cops because they try to kill basically Ryu. And then Shinichi finds her. And then when she's Ryu, she has been confused because she thought he died. You know, he's clearly alive. And then she's killed by one of the lords. Which one, you might ask? Well, I think one of the Jaguar lords. Yeah, it's kind of interesting the fact that, well, because in a way we only had like a few different lords in just these few episodes. Yeah, the Jaguar Lords, who pretty much in a way got killed off pretty much in 21. Yeah, the female one was killed by Agito, and Rebo, he is another one got killed by Gills, and apparently I think one of them is basically, I think it was not the female, I think it was the other one, had actually killed Aki by snapping her neck, and then Gills, thinking it was Agito who killed her, basically beats up for a while, and then of course he's saved by G3, and then Gills gets away, ends up back in Aki's apartment, and he remains there for the remainder of this. He doesn't do anything. It's like, well, he does have a desire to kill Agito for supposedly killing Aki, but that's it. Seiichi was back with basically the professor and his niece and son, which they clean the house up, but he has to stop temporarily because one of the lords show up. Oh, by the way, with the death of the last two Jaguar Lords, there's no more Jaguar Lords. You think, okay. So, well, we have two B Lords. Yep, two B Lords. Yeah. Where their thing was basically shove people with the concrete, not like basically smash them. Like, literally absorbing them to concrete, killing them. At one point, the female one did this to a child. I'm like, damn. And it's a good thing they showed the body, because that would have been... if they showed this kid basically inside this concrete, like it was implied to happen here, I'm sure Toei would have received a ton of phone calls over this. But lucky enough, it's implied that she killed him. And of course, the B one had this really cool effect here, where his male B is chasing this one woman, and it's like, I love the camera cut. It's like this little 4 inches away. It's like goes bam, 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 goes like really quick. I thought it was a really cool effect on the part of the cameras for that one. Eventually, Agito does defeat this B Lord, and also, by the way, during the Gills fight, episode 21. The original G3 suit is pretty much destroyed. Yep, they need to make a new suit. So, Haru creates a thing called V1. V1. So, they try out the new G3 system on, of course, Merikawa. And the man himself basically, well, like, it seems like it's fine, and then he just stops moving and he collapses. And apparently, like, they examined his organs. They're all perfectly fine. But apparently he's got bruises on his arms, which they're apparently nothing. And then show later on, oh, they're just tape, basically, so he can work out. Which I'm like, I highly doubt that would cause damage like that, but that's normal for stuff like that. So, there is discussion of possibly replacing him as the G3 X user. And let me show up basically G3X, because I saw this suit, and I'm like, and this is kind of interesting. It kind of looks like this is what the suit looks like here. It reminds me a lot of one of the suits that was used for one of the Miller Hero series. It's a very similar design. And then when you see him basically try out the full suit first time, after V1 shows up, and of course this is Haru, of course, testing the field. Bullets don't work properly on the lore. They're fighting this episode, which is basically a B. Yes, a B. And then also this is AI inside the suit. That as soon as basically Haru as V1 points his gun at the G3 suit, he goes frickin' nuts. Beat the crap out of him. And then he goes out to basically fight the B-Lord, where you've Agito fighting her, and then all of a sudden he brings out like this really cool gun that fires like 100 bullets. Eventually this thing kills the B-Lord. You're like, what? Yeah, and there's also discussed like, oh yeah, let's basically we'll basically deal with this. Yeah, and then eventually, of course, because like, oh, the possibly punishment, like, can't blame Haruka because he was not full control, was the... For some reason, she doesn't say Kawa, she's the developer of the suit. She's like, oh, let's say the AI. And, of course, Haru basically thinks, oh, basically had her basically destroy his suit, so she should be the default winner. But no, she had nothing to do with it. For some reason, she does not claim the AI is responsible. But then, oh crap, we have basically a new lord pop up, basically a Stingray lord, known as Stingray Concullus. So Shinichi is drafted to be the new G3X. And you have Marikawa basically put the suit on him. You actually see him actually got on the motorcycle called the Guard Chaser. Now this whole scene here reminds me a lot of Kuga. Like a lot of Kuga, you know, a police officer, well, at least detective, working with the Kamen Rider. Of course, he does not know, though there was a hint, basically, he almost spilled the beans of him being Agito, but he's like, oh, it's nothing. So, then he goes out, drives it, drives it really well, probably because he, oh, there's also a joke because he has amnesia, he doesn't have a license to drive a motorcycle, and turns out, he actually does. Yeah, he actually does have a license to drive a motorcycle. And he goes out and he ends up start fighting the actual Stingray lore. I'm like, really cool here. And so yeah, this was really good. And before my break, I have exactly about 9 more to go. But I'm also going to not only go on break with episode 32. Actually, it's more like 8 to go, actually. Basically, I'm going to go through a few movies. Before I head back to Zoology. Yep. But yeah, that's basically a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. I'm going to go and come back and watch the newest episode of Gojuger. And then I'm going to start watching my brand new anime, which is about 3 of them. If they came out, I'm going to have to watch them. And then after that, I'm going to continue watching Kamen Rider. Agito, okay? Next video. Bye.